Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, Secretary of State Adrian Fontes responds to a federal appeals court ruling against the Secretary's plans to ban offensive speech at polling places. Also tonight, travel writer Roger Naylor talks about his favorite places to visit in the state. And we'll get a preview of the Education Town Hall broadcast tonight on Arizona PBS. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled last week that Secretary of State Adrian Fontes cannot enforce a ban on offensive speech at or around polling places. It's the latest involving questions and concerns over issues addressed by Fontes in the state's election procedure manual. And joining us now is Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes. Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Okay, this Ninth Circuit ruling, what do you make of it?
It was great. There was two pieces to this. One piece was kind of kicked out. The Ninth Circuit said the plaintiffs didn't have standing regarding a rule that we had promulgated back in 2023, and that was on certification of elections. And the second piece, we're going to get to go to trial on because the plaintiffs did have standing on that one, and that had to do with threats and intimidation against voters who are potentially standing in line or heading towards polling places, which is one of the things that we wanted to prevent. It's kind of inside baseball stuff because this manual is really a rule book for elections administrators. It's for county officials. It's for folks who are actually at the polling places, like how to run the election. It's not really intended for the general public, although it's available to the public, obviously. Yeah.
But the Ninth Circuit kind of said that what you want to do is too broad and that there could be unintentional consequences here because we're not talking about intent, we're talking about effect. That makes sense to you?
Well, it does make sense to me, but that's one of the reasons why we've kind of already made adjustments. And see, this is one of the things about these lawsuits. And we've seen a lot of these kinds of lawsuits brought by political opponents of mine. These aren't folks advocating for voters, by the way. These are folks who are playing the courts and using them to make political money and political arguments. Here's what's actually happening. Every 2 years, the Secretary of State promulgates the new rules. The Attorney General and the Governor signs off, and these are the new rules. When I do this, I look to the law, state law, federal law, case law. Sometimes these things conflict, so we've got to make sure that all these rules are good to go for county officials. What's happening is political opponents of mine want to game the judicial system, raise their flags and say, oh, we're suing Fontes over this, we're suing Fontes over that, and they can make money off of that with their fundraising. They can go out there and grift off of this. Here's the thing. The 2025 manual, the new one, not this one that's under litigation, it's already being drafted. It's due to the Attorney General and the Governor on October 1st this year.
Right.
And we're going to have a final one in December. So this case effectively is already moot.
Okay, I was going to ask, the things that were brought up here, and again, the idea of trying to police or enforce a ban of offensive speech at polling places could unintentionally ban free speech, unintentionally put a chilling effect on free speech. That was 2023.
Right.
Is that addressed in 2025 in the manual draft so far?
Absolutely. Here's the interesting thing. The plaintiffs that are still pushing this thing, my political opponents who are cheering and saying we won, they already know that we made adjustments in the new draft. They already know that we've made adjustments that really address the concerns that they have. This is one of the few places in governance that's actually nimble and effective and responsive, because every other year we have to draft this manual so that we can make changes based on what the statutes say and things of this nature. So they're really, again, the whole motive behind these lawsuits is to gain political points. It's political theater at the cost of our judiciary, at the cost of taxpayers who have to pay to defend these things that at the end of the day, again, are moot.
Would you not have addressed these issues, though, if there were not court actions?
No, that's not the point. The point is everyone has a public, there's a public input period, and many of the pieces of public input that we've had year in and year out make it into the manual. Changes get made. It is responsive, it is nimble, and it doesn't matter that we get sued in a lawsuit that's ultimately going to be moot. What does matter is the fact that these folks are gaming the judicial system. They're costing taxpayers money to get political points. And we, again, would love to just sit down and have conversations with these folks like we had to draft the draft that's available now which makes these adjustments.
So there's no sense of any direction or any correction when the three-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit, which is hardly a bastion of conservatism here, three-judge panel unanimously says, no, we're not going for this, even though you say that this is not included perhaps in the next manual.
Here's what the judges said. We're going to go ahead and let this thing go to trial. They didn't say finally and ultimately that this is too much or too little. They said this is where we're going to trial, because the facts haven't been presented on this thing. Remember, this was a question of whether or not the injunction is going to hold. It's not a question of fact. And so all of the evidence hasn't been heard yet. That's the problem here. It's getting sold as a victory. It's a hollow victory, if at all. And what we're doing is saying, look, common sense tells us we want to protect voters from harassment and intimidation. And so that's why the new change says, here's laws against harassment, here's laws against intimidation, here's federal statutes and state statutes. And so the adjustment that we made just says, here's the law. Those of you who want to scream and yell at our voters, who want to try to intimidate them wearing long rifles and camouflage, you may very well be breaking the law, and here's the laws. So we made the adjustments that were necessary. I'm not complaining. If somebody thinks we did something wrong, of course the courts are available. But the problem is the abuse of these systems, and those folks who are grifting off of the judiciary. That's a real problem in my mind.
You mentioned the fact that there would be public input and stuff. GOP National Committee, they're worked up over the fact that they want full public notice and they want comment, and they say that's not happening. Response,
yeah,
please.
well, this, again, what we had in 2023, not required by law, by the way, because the Elections Procedures Manual doesn't fall in the Procedures Act. Okay, it's a separate thing, and it has a separate timeline than what they want us to use. In 2023, we did 14 days of public comment after 6 months of working with county officials, community groups, and all kinds of other folks to do the draft. They got upset, they sued. And we're like, okay, fine, let's do 30 days. So this year, we did 30 days. Here's the problem. By bringing it under this other set of rulemaking rules, we're never going to actually have a real election procedures manual. We're never going to have one. Like we didn't have one for so many years, and folks complained about it and complained about it and complained about it. Again, political theater in order to grift, and it's an abuse of the judiciary. Our political opponents are doing wrong stuff, and they're pretending like they're doing right. And I don't like the fact that they're abusing our systems for political points.
And I want to ask you this again in a different way here. We can say, granted, they're doing it to make political points. Granted, they're doing it to fundraise. Whatever you say, we'll give you that.
Yeah.
But is it not also helping you, or at least maybe subconsciously helping you, go in a little bit of a different direction?
Look, I love having the conversation with folks who disagree with me, because we're going to come up with better ideas. That's what makes America amazing. We have a diversity of thought in this country that has allowed us to innovate in all kinds of different spaces. I just want to sit down and talk with folks instead of spending taxpayer dollars. Do you know I've got a $500,000 outstanding bill from a law firm that we have been defending cases and defending cases and defending cases, and the legislature is just not giving us any money to pay for that. So we literally have a deficit to defend lawsuits that the legislature and their political cronies are bringing against us, which doesn't make any sense, and the taxpayers are footing the bill. I don't care about opposition. Let's have the conversation. Let's have the dialogue. What I do care about is abuse of the judiciary. That's a problem.
The judiciary also, as you kind of referred to earlier, no decision, kind of a punt here on including election results from counties that refuse to certify.
Yeah.
The response there?
Well, we made an adjustment. We saw what was happening, we heard the arguments, and we decided to make an adjustment. I mean, it's really that simple. Here's the thing. Again, Ted, we want to be nimble and responsive when it comes to having these conversations. We want to be mature and effective. But when we have to answer lawsuits and spend tens, if not hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars to do it, that's where the real problem is. That's what I've got a problem with.
And I will tell you that from the Republican side, we hear that they basically say you can't register someone to vote if they're not a U.S. citizen. State law says that the application must be rejected. You're telling me, telling us, that if it's a federal form, you put it on hold. If it's a state form, you use something different there. They're not happy about that. And they're also not happy about the state application forms as well, because you're saying, let's give the person the benefit of the doubt, go through some motor vehicle data, these kinds of things. They're saying no means no. How do you respond to that?
Voters are more important than political opinions. And if we already have the data to show that these folks are U.S. citizens, we're going to go ahead and register them to vote. We're going to follow the law the way the Attorney General does. And oh, by the way, my interpretation of some of the stuff that we're talking about here was a little bit more strict than what the Attorney General's opinion was. We can even disagree. She's a Democrat, I'm a Democrat. The point is this, Ted. People just want us to do our jobs. They're sick and tired of us fighting about every little detail and every little form. And this is what keeps getting shoved down our throats. I just want to do my job and let everybody else live their lives. And this kind of thing becoming a problem is a mountain out of a molehill when someone can pick up the phone and say, hey, Mr. Secretary, can you switch this thing and this thing? And as a matter of fact, we've got a draft of a new voter registration form that literally does that. We take 2 of the boxes on the form and switch them because we got some concerns from some folks. It's not complicated. You just got to call.
All right, the manual is drafted and it's submitted to the governor and the Attorney General, like you said, October 1st?
Our deadline's October 1st. We're going to meet that deadline.
Okay, and how do we know that it's been accepted and we have a new way to run elections that come next year?
There will be some announcement from the Attorney General and the governor before December 31st. And once we have that final elections procedures manual for 2025, I assume they're just going to keep on suing us because that's all that they can do.
Well, we'll find out about that. Adrian Fontes, Arizona Secretary of State. Oh my goodness, so much going on here. A lot of it inside baseball, but I think we got a good, accessible kind of way to discuss this.
I appreciate
Thank you
having
so
me.
much for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Tired, weak, underfed.
Things could turn for the worse quite quickly.
Oh, there's a leopard.
Bobby, he's right behind you. Move.
No!
Oh, wow.
Wednesday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
The 38th Hispanic Heritage Awards, honoring Chich Marin, Rosie Perez, Gloria Trevi, Raul Alejandro, and more, featuring Ivy Queen, Lisa, Gloria Trevi, and more, hosted by Maya Lopez.
Friday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
We are the explorer species. We took on perilous journeys like no others had to become the only global species. Human journeys on Nova.
Wednesday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
Award-winning travel writer Roger Naylor is celebrating 50 years of chronicling the state's sights and sounds and little-known treasures. And as part of that celebration, Naylor's released a list of his favorite spots in Arizona. And joining us now to share that list, there he is, Roger Naylor. Always great to have you here.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, you're like a cleanser. You know, you go through all sorts of stuff, and then here's Roger Naylor with just looking at beautiful mountains
Arizona
and birds.
stuff,
and,
just the beauty of it.
Top 10 spots in Arizona. What prompted you to write this column? 50 years, this kind of hit you, huh?
Yeah, well, I came out to Arizona August 24th, 1975 to go to college, a wide-eyed college student at Northern Arizona University. Took one look, stepped off the plane, smelled that pine-scented air, and thought, I'm home. This is it.
Was it love at first sight?
It was. It absolutely was. Much to my parents' dismay, I dropped out of college and began rambling around this beautiful state. So they were not as thrilled as I was, but I was in training to be a travel writer even then. So,
did you ever think about moving away?
Oh, no.
Not at all.
Well, I mean, I kind of commuted back and forth from Ohio to Arizona for a few years while I was trying to figure out how to make a living and all that and stuff. But yeah, we've been No. When I married my wife, we honeymooned in Arizona. I dragged her all over the state. I said, this is where we're going to live. So,
Yeah.
She knew that going in.
Well, your column that I saw, the column in the Arizona Republic, it was very well done.
Oh, well,
really
thank you.
well done. It's one of those things that kind of touches you a little bit. I said, this is really nice stuff. And again, top 10 places. We're going to go top 5 in descending order. And we're going to start with number 5. And this is the Wildcat Trail in Monument Valley. I would imagine any trail in Monument Valley.
I encourage everybody to get to Monument Valley. It is spectacular. It's one of those amazing places. It's the iconic West, but there's just something about the Wildcat Trail. When you go to the park, tribal park, take a Navajo-led guide out into the back country, see all that. And I do all of that, but I always make time to hike this trail, which circles the West Mitten. You don't need a guide to do it. It's one of the few trails where you can do it on your own. It's easy, it's rolling, but it's just magical. You just see these blocky towers vaulting up from the sand and sagebrush and piercing the sky, and the cloud shadows sweeping. It's
but you wrote about the sky as much as more than the monolith.
That's what you see there. The sky becomes part of it. There's something about Monument Valley where you're connected to the sky in a way that I never feel anywhere else.
Isn't that interesting?
It is. It's a fascinating place.
All right, number 4 is about as different from Monument Valley as you can get. It's the La Posada Hotel in Winslow. Now, is this before or after the renovation?
Well, after, of course, because that's part of the story, part of the charm. This was one of the last Santa Fe Railway hotels, a Harvey House, designed by Mary Coulter, considered her masterpiece. Unfortunately, it opened right at the beginning of the Great Depression, so it kind of struggled right from the start. Finally, was turned into railroad offices, made as junk with linoleum floors, acoustic tile ceilings, all this horrible stuff. And then I guess they were going to demolish it because they couldn't figure out a way to turn it into a grain silo. But one guy, Alan Affelt, stepped forward. He and his wife, Tina Mion, and their partner, Dan Lutzik, and saved it from the wrecking ball. And not only saved it, but restored it, returned it to its glory. It's this airy, beautiful place inside. It's filled with artwork. It's wrapped in gardens. The turquoise room serves wonderful food. And it reminds us how people used to travel, but it's also a reminder that one person can make a difference. One person can change things, and that's a story we need to hear over and over again.
Let's keep it moving here, Raj. We got the wildflowers at Picacho Peak. Now, is this wildflowers or is it wildflowers at Picacho? These special wildflowers out here?
I'm a wildflower fiend. I chase wildflowers like some people chase fall colors or car shows. Every wet winter we have, I'm out there chasing wildflowers. Some of my best sightings have been at Picacho Peak, and that's everything belongs in the desert. You know, the spiny cactus, the thorny trees, the boulders, everything except these.
Yes.
You know, they just have no business being here. And then on those rare years when they erupt, like in 2023 when we had that super bloom, it feels like you're witnessing a miracle.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. All right, Castle Dome Mine, a mine museum in Yuma is number 2.
North of Yuma. Yeah, fascinating place. Again, this is one of the old original mining districts in Arizona, and the property was bought by Alan and Stephanie Armstrong. It's in the Kofa Mountains, north of Yuma, and they saved all these old buildings. And then when the Bureau of Land Management was going to bulldoze a bunch of other ones, he said, well, let me save them. Brought them in. He recreated some others. There's like 60 buildings in this town, and they're all filled with artifacts that he's taken from mine shafts. And it really is a time capsule. It's a step back in time to what the frontier was like in those days. And again, one of those stories where one person steps up and saves a piece of our heritage, a piece of our history, and I love that.
I know your number 1 is Dead Horse Ranch State Park in Cottonwood, and that one person who steps up to make this number 1 is you. This is your spot. I know that.
This is my sanctuary. We live in Cottonwood, so for the last 30 years, I am hiking here every day, practically. It saves a piece of the Verde River, 3 shady lagoons, woodlands of cottonwoods and willows, limestone hills. I'm not allowed to yell, "Get out of my yard" anymore. The rangers have put a stop to that. But this is my personal sanctuary. But here's what's so special about this, the whole concept and story. This is mine. Everybody in Arizona has one. We have so much open space, we have so many parks and preserves that even here in Phoenix, in the heart of Phoenix, in this urban landscape, there are parks and preserves and hundreds of miles of hiking trails right there. We can all reconnect to nature. We can all get back very quickly. And that's a gift. That's one of the reasons I love Arizona and have loved it for the last 50 years.
Well, it's clear special moments help to make these special places. And Roger, congratulations on the list. And it's just a great column and a great list, and it's always great having you here.
It's my pleasure, anytime.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, President Trump uses a speech at the United Nations to rail against global migration. That's at 6 on Arizona PBS.
Inside the Issues, Education Solutions for Arizona is a statewide town hall featuring education leaders discussing issues like access, affordability, and the future of education in the state. The town hall airs tonight on Arizona PBS at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 4 p.m. We learn more about the event from Roxanne De La Rosa, our new multimedia journalist and education solutions reporter here at Arizona PBS. Roxanne, good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us, and I want to welcome you to Arizona Horizon. We'll get to what you're going to be doing for us and across different platforms here at Arizona PBS in a second. But tonight, we're airing this AMA Education Town Hall. Talk to us about what this is all about.
So I was invited to attend as a reporter. It's a first of its kind panel. They wanted to get experts in early education, K through 12 funding, higher education, and experts on what the future of education could look like. So it was just holding a discussion around some of the solutions and maybe some of the issues around education in Arizona.
Interesting. And I know in Arizona, highest student-to-teacher ratio, teacher-to-student ratio, highest advisor-to-student ratio. All these kinds of things were discussed during this panel discussion?
Yes, because I think a major issue from a takeaway that I got from attending this town hall is that our public education system is massively underfunded.
That seems to be the running theme under everything, correct?
Yes, yes.
Were there solutions? I mean, obviously the solution is to better fund education through the legislature. But aside from that, was there anything else floated as a way to address that issue?
to vote and to, that's the feeling that I got. The general feeling is that voters need to inform themselves on what is going on in office and what legislators are supporting.
So it's basically get the information out there.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And this is, and we should mention, this is despite the vast majority of people, students here in Arizona, they go to public schools.
Yes, more than 90% of kids in Arizona attend public schools.
All right, who put this event on? This is what, AMA and Clean Elections?
Yes.
Yeah, talk about that relationship here.
So Arizona Media Association they helped fund my role actually and many other roles across the state of Arizona, and the majority of these roles are focused on education solutions, reporting specifically, and they put them even in news deserts where they may not be a reporter to report around education.
And that brings us to you and your role here at Arizona PBS. Talk about what you're going to be doing, covering. Is it basically education? Is it all aspects of education, solutions to education? What are you going to be doing?
I mean, I can do anything surrounding education, but my role is to focus on solutions and how we can improve our education in Arizona.
And a variety of platforms, correct?
Yes, correct. So social media, we can do videos on social media, articles written, and obviously broadcast television.
And this is in partnership again with AMA and Clean Elections?
Just Arizona Media Association and Report for America.
And Report for America. Okay, so Clean Elections was involved in the event that we're going to see tonight, but Report for America on this one.
Yes, that's correct. For the grant that funded my role.
I would think it would be pretty rewarding to do something like this, especially when you're focusing on solutions.
It is rewarding, but it's also a challenge because education has become so polarized in Arizona, so I need to focus on solutions. But from my understanding and speaking to education leaders so far in the work that I've done, it's a lot of our legislators making policy decisions around education that contribute to the lack of funding.
Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing everything you're going to cover on, again, these varieties of platforms that we have here at Arizona PBS. Roxanne De La Rosa, welcome to Arizona PBS.
Thank you for having me.
And again, the Education Town Hall airs here on Arizona PBS tonight at 8 p.m. and again Sunday at 4 p.m. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.